All right, guys. So tonight, I didn't know what Bath and Peace to review, um, and so I've been wondering with this idea for a while to just create a constant basis, a constant structure or foundation of what the other half of my channel is gonna look like. Because there is Batman, that's all good and fair. But there's also the other side that is the physical, emotional, lifestyle, training regimen, and everything that revolves around it. So I wanted to tell maybe not everything because it is a very long story, but I wanted to tell you the story of my life so that every time I know, again, I don't have any subscribers. It doesn't mean anything. It's kind of a joke, but it's a catharsis to be able to talk about it freely and maybe touch someone someday. Who knows? So I wanted to. Okay, so I was born in a farm. Um, Excuse me. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I was born in the farm. I lived on a farm for the first 10 years of my life. My father was a very, well, from what I acknowledge now, he's a psychopath and narcissistic psychopath. Um, I have a sister who is 5 years older than me and has found a new life, a new partner, and three wonderful children that I will cherish forever. And they are the true testament of all the story I'm gonna be telling here. Again, I'm not sure I will cover it in one take, but I can try. So, me and my sister, the beatings from my father. My mother is an angel; she wouldn't hurt a fly. And but my father was really psycho, crazy, and when I say narcissistic, I don't know in English. Sometimes it middles, whatever. Um, it's something based really deeply with ego and the fact that you can never be wrong about anything, even if you have no knowledge, no studies, no schooling, no working past of any subjects you're engaging in. So my father was God. In his mind, he is God. He is the ultimate, even though he's fat and short and ugly and whatever. It's like he was always the best looking, best confidence and everything. Best, if you want to build a house, is the best to do it. And for some things, he was right. He was really good. He was a farm main man. But I, anyway, to cut through the cracks. Yeah, he started beating me and my sister. I was around 7 years old, so my sister was 12, so beginning high school, and we wouldn't sleep. And I just vividly reconstructed this moment I have in my mind, and I think maybe my future illnesses are not a coincidence because when you have lived long enough, coincidences don't exist. Detectives always say that, and I agree. And so yeah, so The standout of my father, it's got to a point. I remember I was in the final preparations for my final exam at 7 years old, but we were put on such a rigid regiment of schooling. Uh, I mean, I was going to a private school, had really good teachers, really good schooling, really good grades. I had to because, and we want here in Quebec, we work by percentage for private schools, so it's not A, B, C, D. It's percentage like 80%, 95%, and so on. So you have to have 60% to pass, and nothing under 85% was uh, possible for us. And so we were every day when we came home from school, we were studying the dictionary. We were studying. I remember we were studying all the flags in the world, and at a certain point, I remember before going to sleep, I had to remember the order of the flags as they were placed on the in first pages of the dictionary, like, and I have to read a number of words in the dictionary like every day. And yeah, maybe you'll say, yeah, that's what brought you into writing. And I said, and I have to say about this, well, if only that brought me to writing, I don't want anything to do with it because it's ugly. I mean, sure, it's good to have a good education, but to be living under, that was before, that was okay. So a regular day, came home from school, a lot of traveling because we were living in a farm, we're away from the city, so it was very long drives. Um, so we had to do our day at school, and then we had to came home with the fear. And yeah, so my sister was always building things. My sister was way more artistic than I was, and it's strange because as adults it kind of devolved. But she had children. I mean, I would never blame her for not pursuing art in any form because when you become a mother, that's your full life, full time job to be a good mom, and she is that. So I will never say anything bad about my sister ever. I'd rather be fucking killed. So just bring me back to my chamomile tea. Yeah. Mmm. Is it the Japanese little chamomile tea? Is it the hot chocolate, perhaps? No, because I'm vegan. I'll talk about that in another video, but for now, just more hot tea. So yeah, so 7 years old, um, we wouldn't sleep. Well, I don't know for my sister, but I couldn't sleep because my father and my mother, well, mostly my father because he was God, so he was the only one allowed to talk and yell. There was no talking with him. It was always yelling and screaming and punching things. And it was, I mean, my room was like 5 to 10 feet from the kitchen, so as all good mother father fights, it was going on in the kitchen. And my mom was very much afraid. She couldn't explain to us what was going on. It was just become regular from us, like regular life, regular, like normal. It was normal to don't sleep every night because your father was screaming at your mother for about insurances. And I remember there was a company, I'll never forget the name. It was called Sun Life, and he wasn't happy about, I don't know why, because he had a farm to, because the way we lived is that we had a two apartment building. So we were living on the top, and my grandmother and grandfather, the mother and the father of my own father, were living in the basement. So it was mainly my father's house because it was his farm, his buildings, his rules. You get the idea. So, and I, and again, over and over, every night they would go at it for hours. I don't know how they did, but I remember the punching on the table. Even if I didn't see it, I heard it again and again, punching walls, punching shit, yelling and yelling about insurances, about this, and the government is screwing me up, and blah, blah, blah. And my mother had nothing to do with it. Not an atom, not a molecule of it. It wasn't, it's like, why are you telling me this? Has nothing to do with me. So, the, so I would, and maybe kind of stupid children dream, but I still want to be friends with my dad. I didn't connect all the dots because I was just 8 years old. So, and what my passion then was hockey. In Canada, it's a big thing. You can It's hard for a man to grow up in Canada and never play hockey at all. I mean, from my perspective, that's how I got it. So, and my father always complained that he was working 16 hours a day and blah, blah, blah. Since he was 18 years old, he was working day in, day out, sleeping 3 hours a night. It's like, yeah, but you have children now, it's different, and if the government has screwed you, it's not our fault. And why are you why are you feeding us with your rage and anger for something that we didn't have nothing to do with? And of course, that is huh, narcissistic personality disorder. And my father would never in 1,000 years consult a psychiatrist. They were the devil to him. He doesn't believe in them because it was a scam. And the ultimate irony in this is that I had to, of course, with the trauma, consult a plethora of these kinds of people, therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists and so on and so forth. So, yeah, the baddest beating we had was when uh, I saw him. Well, me, I remember because when I was that was my point. When I was playing hockey, we had a huge garage for, of course, for all the trucks and the products, refrigerated vegetables, because we were on a farm. And I remember I was playing hockey inside the garage, and my father says, "Don't you fucking break a window because I just bought new fucking windows. Get it?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. Why would I break windows?" And first shot, he wasn't going through the door. First shot, I missed, broke a window. You have never seen an Olympian running that fast after a child. He went back, banged the doors. I let my hockey stick, ironically, again, the only thing that could defend me from this monster. And I just kept on, I just started crying and running in circles, and he following me until, of course, ran faster than me because I was a child. So, and he started beating me up again. So, um, yeah, after that, the baddest beating, well, it's hard to pick up the best. I mean, what are we doing? Like ranking beatings now? It's like beatings are beatings. And yeah, so the baddest beating, because me being beaten, didn't really care. Um, all I cared about was my mom and how I couldn't bear the anger of um, I don't know how I was aware of that, but each night I saw my yeah, of course, scream. The good nights were when there were no screamings or limited amounts. I saw my mother go to bed with my dad, and I was like, "Huh, sound seems to me a little crazy that you have to sleep in the bed of someone who is giving you so much shit." I don't know. I'll never know how I was aware of that at this age, but that's what my little head told me. So sorry, guys. Um, yeah, and every night I was looking at them, and I was always up. I don't know why. I had to wake up like at 6, 7 a.m. every day because school. And every night I saw them, or I would wake up early and watch them sleep in the same bed, and then I never saw a thread of love between them. Uh, Now that I think about it, I can never remember seeing my mom kiss my dad in 10 years. 10 years it took. Yeah, but yeah, just to finish about the baddest beating. Baddest beating, so yelling, screaming, usual shit. Uh, but he struck my fucking sister. That was a no go. I mean, you can beat me up in the garage all you want, away from prying eyes, but touch my sister and I'll fucking kill you. And of course, I was 7 years old or 8. So, do you want me to get an automatic rifle? I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, I can't do shit. So, he struck my sister fucking hard, and she took my hand. We went into the bathroom. She locked the door, and we go both went to sleep. But before we did, in the bathroom, of course, we go to sleep in the bathroom. She took a needle and she started doing scratch, and she said, "That's what he's doing to me." Like, and that I was fucking scared because for it was a precursor of mutilation, and something that has been a huge thing for me in my later years. So even now that I'm telling this story, I can see points, dots connecting, but I mean, it's hard to really know what you're talking about and really know what affected what when when it's been 25 years ago. It's hard to remember, and it's hard to tell yourself that okay, your DNA, your subconscious remembers everything, and it's gonna give you shit for that, and you're gonna have a hard life for something that happens 2 decades ago. It's hard to grasp. But yeah, so I think that, yeah, striking my sister was maybe the last shot because, and of course, when we had in Quebec, Canada, in 1998. So I was no 1996, I think. So I was, yeah. So it makes sense. I was 9 years old, and we had a huge a storm, an ice storm. I don't know how you characterize it in English, but an ice storm, like everything, it broke everything. So we had no electricity. The roads were ice. The line posts were ice. Everything was ice for months and months. No electricity. It was nuts. And so my mom, decided to that we were gonna go, and I think that by that point she had begun the paperwork to get a divorce, because as I learned later, in these days, when where there was no like adultery or rape or things like that, it was very difficult to have a good divorce, clean divorce, like just for psychological damages. Nah, it didn't have much weight. Today it has, and I'm glad it does. But back then, 30 years ago, no, not so much luck. It's like, and he wasn't beating my mother, so she had no marks. That proves what a coward he is. He was just beating his children, not someone of his size, not someone of his age, not someone who could, even a woman, someone who could come back to him with a strike, or with a words, or with a whatever, in so many ways. So the divorce was the only thing left to my mother to save us. Really, save her, save us, save everyone. And during the ice storms I just call the ice storm. I don't know how many months it lasted, but it was a long time. And we went to live with my grandmother. We live in town, so we were for the first time not in the farm anymore, not in the rural parts of the city, not far from my friends. I was close to my friends. I was very close to my school. And I said, wow, that's so much better than being stuck in a fucking farm. And I can just play hockey in the ice on the street. It was great. And of course, we had no electricity, but it's a small price to pay to have finally peace. I've never slept so much. I've never slept better than in my grandmother's house in those days. I was, because my father wouldn't come. I don't know if it was because the divorce settlements had begun, because it was already signed, or because he was just too damn stupid. But I know of course, my grandmother's side and my grandmother's from my mother's side and my grandmother from my father's side had problems again. They never met each other, not at parties, not at family reunions, not at Christmas, never. They never crossed paths. So there was always an stupid, difficult interactions, or none interactions at all, because they didn't like each other, I guess. They were all in a very ancient mindset of like, I don't want, no, I'll say it, like a fucking rednecks. They were like, even, it's not Texas, nothing about against Texas, but it was like the Texas of the Canada's mindset, if you will. So we stay on our farm, we drink our milk from our cows, and fuck you and whatever. Brr, fuck your town, fuck your modern things, blah blah blah. Blah. And the same thing because and yeah, so okay, we went to again. We had some wonderful times at the worst times because having no electricity when you're a kid, when you're 9 years old, it sucks. I could not watch Batman the animated series, which was my favorite, always on Saturdays. And I was eating, but the thing I was liking the most is I was eating my favorite brand of cereal 2 to 3 times a day as meals. Oh, was I happy! Sweet sugary happiness. It was hell healthy, guys. My mom took good care of us, and my grandmother too. So I have no complaints about that time, even without electricity. And I think also because my father had done the one thing the government said not to do. He bring he brought a barbecue, and he was heating his house, the farm, with propane. And it was like, are you fucking nuts, motherfucker? I remember I just went once to gather my hamster because always had hamsters when I had a kid, and my hamster died because of the cold. But it smelled like Jesus Christ. It smelled like gas in there. It smelled like you light a cigarette and an explosion would blow out. It's like it was fucking crazy. I was living alone under these conditions and the fights and the anyway. Finally, when I was 10 years old, my mother finally brought on the divorce officially, and we were free for some time. Slipknot. So, yeah, starting from 10 years old, my life became a dream. I was 15-minute walk away from my school. My friends were close. I was living with my mother, my sister, and my grandmother in a beautiful house. So we were comfortable. We each had a room. We could live in peace. No more rigid regiments. No more violence. No more screaming. No more. We could sleep at night peacefully. And we were in town, so we were near it. It didn't took an hour to go to the grocery store. It took 10 minutes. So I was so grateful to my grandmother that I love very dearly, and so yeah, we had always good food. My grandmother would bring us some cookies after school because I love me some cookies. And so I started to, at the end of elementary school, I started to mow her lawn, becoming a little more of a man, a little man. And my sister had started to have boyfriends, and she was 15, 16. And I loved it. I loved it. Except when my father came by and we had to go for some reason. He never, that's the thing. He never, again, what a coward he is. He never said, I never went with him in his car with me and my sister. It was always one or the other, most more likely me. And what he was doing was he would drive angrily, really fast, to the point that it scared me to hell. Park, he would find the nearest empty park lot, park his car, lock the doors, and start yelling at me and yelling and yelling and yelling and spitting in my face. Everything but touching me, but everything but hitting me. I would have preferred to be hit than to eat 2 hours, 3 hours of this bullshit. It took all my day. It took all my mind. It was like a demon eating your soul. It was very, very, very hard. And I knew they never settled that in the divorce. They never settled like, okay, so you'll have the kids one weekend on every week. One weekend you'll have the children, one weekend not, one weekend you do, and etc. So there were no rules. That's the only flaw of that divorce. That otherwise was going pretty well. So yeah, so I got the gist of it. It was again another nightmare. Um, because I knew every time I was going in the car with him, sure, it would bring me to hockey games, but then he started coaching our hockey team. And guess what happened? When I did great, tap on the shoulder. When I did bad, you're fucking worthless. And I remember even if the pictures, the frame pictures of the hockey team, he looked like a fucking demon from hell. No smile, fat fucker, just like dead eyes. Perfect portrait of him. Um, and I don't know why I didn't start using when I was advancing in my early teenage years. I never sensed the urge of going. I didn't have. I was going to very clean private schools, so nobody was doing drugs or smoking or nothing like that. So I was doing fine when my father wasn't around. But then I got into roller hockey because in the winter we would have ice hockey, and in the summer we would have rollerblade hockey, and I was really damn good at rollerblade hockey. And we won tournaments and everything, and again, every time I scored a goal or I did good, I was, everything was great. But when we were losing, not so much. Anyway, so came a time that my mother finally bought a house, very close to where my grandma was. We're in the same area, very close to my school, very close to my friends, close for everything. And that's when the weird day started. To my knowledge, she didn't have a companion, so she was alone, a single mom raising two kids in a new house with a lone salary because my father wasn't giving her shit. Another flaw from the divorce. He was yelling at the government all the time, and I could tell, right now, I could tell things that would get him in prison. I won't. I don't know why. Maybe because I want him for myself. And maybe because now with my martial arts skills, as poor as they may be, I have cut all ties with him, and I wish him good luck if he wants to take me on. No menace, no. I mean, as soon as if he respects the line, we're good. I mean, we're not, but I don't want to go to jail. If he crosses the line, I will go to jail. So hope that doesn't happen because I've had enough of his crazy, narcissistic, psychopath bullshit. Yeah. So that was the thing with him. The thing with him was the biggest thing was he had always money for some reason. He always screamed for the government that fucked him up in every possible way. But on the other hand, he always had a couple of hundreds in his wallet. So what was the deal? I don't know. So he always tried to buy me. So he bought me all the Batman toys. Every week we'd go at the store and see, and I got the newest, freshest Batman toy. And that was his way of saying I love you because he never said it. And when something wasn't when something wasn't was when I had an issue with something, he would say, "Well, shut the fuck up because I bought you all those toys and you're complaining." It's and I always said I for many years until my adulthood, I was saying in myself, it's funny, but it's like Bane in the Dark Knight Rises I just reviewed. It's like you think money gives you power over me, and I really kept this line in because it was the same thing. It's like, do you think that because you buy me gifts that buys you respect and honor, and that I have no right to complain about anything you do psychologically? It's like, okay, I bought you a figurine of Batman, so this week we're clean, and I can shit over your head and cry at you and yell at you and scream at you and fucking strike you in the face, but you don't have to complain because I bought you a Batman toy. That was his mentality. So again, can't complain. So then again, I started going a few days with my mom, a few days with my dad. And every day with my dad after school, we had to. School wasn't over at 4 p.m. I had a mild time to eat, and then it was school again. So, doing my homework perfectly, writing with a perfect calligraphy, again, knowing the dictionary, reading this and that, and being properly bilingual because yeah, you have to be bilingual though at the age of 14, 13, 14, even before that, at the age of 12. It's like in Quebec, we're French Canadians, we speak French. So, I mean, was never really, I already was bilingual because of my English courses. So I didn't need him to put me through another 2 hours at night of just homework and homeschool and teaching and learn. And it was like an overload. It was like, Jesus Christ, can I ever have a break? Only on weekends. But yeah, So came my adolescence, and I had to. I went to again always private school. I was really. I've always been grateful, even in my youth. I was grateful that because many of my friends went to public schools, and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to private schools. I don't know why. I didn't see the difference, but I was always grateful for my parents or my dad, or because of course my dad was spending the money to keep the power. He thought money had over us and over my mom. And he said, I have more money than my mom, so you must love me or die. I guess. So, but I was always grateful to go to private school. I knew that I had better language school. I was always, um, not to show off, but I was in French, I was always the best. And in English, I was always the best. Just, yeah. Yeah, you can say it was because of what my dad put me through, but if that's what it cost, honestly, I would have preferred to be a B or C level student and to have a life and to have clean, clear emotions and clear of mind. Because I don't know, I wouldn't wish this bullshit on any of my enemies. It was not pleasant. So, yeah, I spent 2 years at the first high school. Yeah, and after that, I was thrown out because we had a psycho teacher, and I complained, of course, to my parents, and I said, "This teacher is fucking psycho. She's banging. She had a wood plank or something, and she would hit our she would hit everything near us with it, and she was really fucking nuts. So I said, "Yeah, I don't want to go to that school anymore." So my father found, oh my god, it's not hot tea. Oh my god, the suspense, the subjugation. Sorry, guys, just a sec. I have to have some liquid courage. Yeah. So, simple story. Mm, Spanish wines and Portugal wines. Best of the best. So I went through because my elementary school was a private school, and it was a huge set of buildings, and the other extreme building in that area was a high school. That was the same school but private, but for high school. So after 2 years, after being thrown out, I went into this high school for the next 3 years, two and a half. And the first 2 years were absolutely great. I would come home to take dinner at home, and I discovered skateboarding, which saved my life. I found extreme sports. I was doing skateboarding every day of the summer and snowboarding every day of the winter. So that's what fucked my body so bad. um, but it was great, and again, I was really good at it. It was the best, the best thing that kept my fears and issues away. Because again, I never thought about, oh, I should start to drink, or I should start to smoke, or I should start to take weed or speed, or those things didn't exist at all in the universe I was in. So it was a great discipline, a great art. I still think it's a great art. I still watch professionals today, and it blows my mind. The skill level is. But one thing that always remained was my writing. And at 15 years old, I started writing Dungeons and Dragons because I was really a nerd as much as a popular sports guy. So I was like a mesh of the two. So in my writing, it will cut. You won't even know so. 1 second. Magic. Okay. So yeah, skateboarding. I really recommend you for anyone who likes creativity and who's athletic and like extreme sports like parkour and all those things. Great discipline. Like snowboarding, like skiing, like yeah, everything you want. So I started to. Um, I was when I remember I was in my mother's home, and I just got my one of my first skateboards, and I was so happy I slept with it like a concubine, like I was holding it, and I slept with it for 1 week, I think, and I was so damn happy. But I know it's not everyone who has that chance, but I was lucky enough. I know I'm lucky. Whatever all the shit that happened to me then and later, I know I'm lucky at certain points because I've seen people way more desperate. I'm not trying to tell you I'm the most desperate guy in the world. I'm not. I'm just trying to reach out and tell you the story of the guy who was doing the virtuoso channel and why he's doing it and what brought him to it, and yeah, just telling my story. So then came my later teenage years, and I started having girlfriends, and oh my god, this was the end of me, the beginning of the end, because my so I was a really good, again, the best in my school at skateboarding. So I had a reputation or whatever bullshit you want to call him. It doesn't mean anything. It's not. I was working the hardest, so it was just bearing fruits. I was always working the hardest because my dad had planted in me such a anxiety performance issues that I had to be always the best. And it created great amounts of stress in recreation and the I don't know how you spell it in the U.S., but in recreation times when you have a free time at school to eat or whatever, I was always on my board, always on my skateboard, always skateboarding, always until the bells sung for us to go back into class. So morning, diner time, evening, always, every day. And yeah, so, and came a time when I met my first real girlfriend. I was 16, and I was a very literate guy. It was a side of me I didn't talk about because I was Um, Apart from the weekends of playing Dungeons and Dragons, which we don't talk about when you're in what you want to when you want to be popular in high school, you don't talk about that. So the popular side of skateboarding of me got this wonderful girlfriend, um, that was really my everything. And I was really a romantic. I was already reading and writing and deep inside the psychological wonderment of soulmates. So I thought she was my soulmate. So of course, I was so young. I made a lot of mistakes. But I just, she gave me so much that I was like in a dream again, in the same dream. I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know what I could do, what I could not do. It was really confusing for me. And, to make love for the first time and things like that, I never would have, I never would have, I never would have thought about that or imagined myself doing any of that back in my farm. It was like an alien story or a science fiction tale. It was like it's not supposed to happen to me, and but in fact it did. When we went out for a couple of months, and I was 16 years old, so of course did some stupid shit, lost her. Um, I love skateboarding too much also, and but she was still in. This was a private school, so the classes are tiny, and so she was everywhere in my life, from morning to dawn to evening. She was in my class, so I couldn't. I was so hurt that I couldn't bear it anymore, and when came Christmas, my grades had come from the top of the class to the lowest of the class. I had like a 25% average score, which in a private school is unacceptable. And that was my way, because every time I wasn't studying anymore, I wasn't doing anything um, in reference to school. So when the exams came, I just grabbed my head and slept through all of it. And yeah, and that's how, after Christmas, I never went back to school again. And it was the best and worst mistakes I ever did, because it took me many years to complete my high school diploma, and I had to wait to be 21 years old or older to go to the university. But at 18 or 19, I was I became that's when I at 18 oh yeah, I have to listen, guys. I understand if you're bored. I have some great music in here that helps a lot, and I'm sorry if I'm boring you, but I I just feel like I want to talk, and because, as you can see, no one else is around, well, I can talk to my camera and have a friend for some time. So, when I was 17, I did a huge mistake. I took my two best friends, my father and my stepmother, this fucking bitch. And we went, uh, my father, my stepmother, and my step brother with my two best friends. So we were, I don't know, six. And we went to Los Angeles from Montreal, from Montreal, Quebec. We went through Los Angeles, which is more than 5,000 kilometers. It's a week and a half drive, if you drive all day long. So it was quite a trip. So I got to see the U.S. from border to border. Um, and at first it was fun, but that was time when I first started having weight issues, because we were only eating junk food, and I was really really in a deep depression because of my ex-girlfriend who left me. It got me hard, guys. It got me. I'm not saying to cry for me, because I deserved it, but I went into such depression at the end of 16 that getting my way to 17 was a miracle again. Never thought about drinking, never thought about smoking, never thought about using substances. So, with this mindset and this body, I was it was the beginning of my health issues. So, yeah, I went, and at some time, my father discovered that I was taking in secrets antidepressants that my family doctor had prescribed me, because after I quit school, it was my mom was so distressed that she asked. She was in the medical system, so the doctor was her friend. So she asked her, can you see him? Can you do something about it? So she said, yeah. And I saw her, and I told the story to her, and she gave me antidepressants, who did nothing, of course, because if you don't know about now, antidepressants don't do shit. And when he found out, of course, for him, getting any type of help, it'd be psychology, psychiatric, medication, everything was like the devil, it was like Satan. It was like being a rapist. It was oh my god, how can you do this? It's like an impossibility. It's like his ego is so big that he could not imagine needing the help of anybody. So I started yelling at him back for the first time in my life, and I gave him the finger, took my backpack, jumped in the first bus I saw, and 3,000 miles from home, I jumped in the bus, not knowing where I was going. And yeah, he started chasing me with my friends in his car. My friends were like, what the fuck is going on? And yeah, story short, I called my sister from California, and I said I want to get on a plane. I don't want to be with him one more second. Of course, I couldn't do that. We didn't have the resources. So I had to bear with him and my stupid friends for weeks more. And when I came back, what to do? Huh? How many times have I said I didn't want to drink, I didn't want to smoke? It never entered my mind. Well, then it entered my mind when I turned 18, because 18 is the legal age in Canada to drink. And I felt That's when I first became an alcoholic, and I was drinking 12, 15 beers a day. And I fell in love again while I was drunk. My greatest friend from childhood, who was my kind of my first love, but it was a strange story. Um, she was in a relationship with my best friend, but she also loved me, so I loved her because what the fuck? I was like 14 years old, 13, 14, from 12 to 14 years old. And I was like, what the hell's happening? I don't understand love. I don't understand the rules. I was so young and dumb, so I made mistakes again. But at 18, 19, although she had a boyfriend, she came back. We came back together, and we were like old souls together again. My What was driving me was my concept of soulmates and whatever else. But um yeah, and she was living not far from me, so I summoned the courage to drink 12 beers, to have the courage to go and talk to her after all these years, like 7 years, 6, 7 years later. 6 years later. And we fell in love again in an instant. And then we were a couple, so we lived in our apartment. I found a job as security guard because that was, again, I wanted. I I started. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about that. For my martial arts training, I started at 18 because I was sick of my father. So to defend myself against him, I started karate for 2 years. I went 3 times a week with private lessons. Sorry, for karate, and we're doing like a lot of combat. Doing We're breaking wood, breaking panels, breaking shit, and but it was stupid. But I really fucked up one of my knuckles, breaking some wood planks. But yeah, and I wouldn't eat before my private lessons, so I was always throwing up and being sick and nauseated. And even in winter, I was barefoot in the snow and crazy, crazy times just to learn like good karate. I just wanted to learn how to fucking defend myself. And so I did 2 years of that. And after I did 3 years of Aikido, which I was if you're a martial artist, you know this path. You're beginning often with the closest to your home. Like, what's the closest? What's the easiest thing to do? Most times it's karate or taekwondo or tai chi or kung fu or whatever it is. And me, I found that karate school, and I had 2 great years. But in skateboarding, I tore my ankle. Tore my ankle to shreds, and so I couldn't do karate anymore. And by the time it took for me to heal back, I found Aikido, and Aikido was described to me as the way of peace. It was completely the antithesis of karate, because when I broke my knuckle, I was like, what's the point for all this violence and all? If I punch someone in the face with my knuckle, I'll just good chance I'm gonna be breaking it. So I didn't understand the concept of destroying yourself to achieve more. To achieve what? Being stronger? You're not stronger if your knuckles are broken. So I found, and I had a good sensei. He was great. He was in the military for some times. He was in special forces for some time. So, but he didn't want to speak about any of it. He was always hiding it, keeping it a secret, and just teaching us pure Aikido. And Aikido was the way of peace. You don't strike. You just you just absorbs and deviates and throw, and you never kick a guy in the face. You just like I said, if you don't know Aikido, go look it up. It's a way of peace. So I liked it quite a lot, and I like my sensei a lot, and I had good friends in the class. So I did it for 3 years, and until I found my real path. Um, 3 years later, I was a security guard in hospitals and psychiatric units. Irony, because I should have belonged there with the rest of them, because I was so tormented, and yeah. So I got into yeah, security guards, and places that needed one. Violent child places, psychiatric units. And I remember one that I'll never forget. I had to protect a mother who just had a baby, because her husband or ex-husband, whatever, had a history of violence and with the police or whatever. So I had to stand up at her door and protect herself from for one night, and that really shook me. And I was like, yeah, well, I hope I'm skilled enough, or else there'll be some trouble, and I don't want anything to happen to the mom or the baby. So yeah, those experiences. But I like that. I like the idea of, again, what brought me to Batman from the first place: protect people, getting justice, being vengeance, uh, being an angel of a wraith, of good and pure intent, and of defending the weak, defending the poor, defending the weak. Um, and I found that in working with security, and I wanted to pursue it. I wanted to get into law enforcement, police, SWAT, anything. I would have taken it. I mean, this was my dream. But unfortunately, what happened and defined me as I still am today, 14 years later. Well, at 20 years old, first I was with my girlfriend, and we had both steady jobs. We were working in the same hospital. We crossed paths a lot, which was great. It was a good life, except that I was becoming very sicker and sicker every day, and I didn't know why. So the doctor that I saw, who was a pure idiot, um, and I can say that he's the only man I hate as much as my father, is that doctor, because he really destroyed me. He destroyed me with medication. He gave me, if any of you know about antibiotics, a cure of antibiotics is not supposed to take longer than 1 or 2 weeks maximum. He gave me antibiotics for 3 years. I was having diarrhea and cramps and stomach aches and fibromyalgia and headaches and everything you can imagine every single second of every minute of every hour of every day. And it continued to go on, grew on, go on, go on, go on. And came a time when I started not sleeping. It started slightly, having difficulty to fall asleep, to sleeping an hour less, to sleeping 2 hours less, to not sleeping at all, day after day after day. So, and again, he said, "Oh yeah, just take antidepressants for sleep and antibiotics for your, I don't know what you have." And I went, "Okay." Again, I was stupid. I didn't know any better. So I took the pills. And I had to appear, I began to have cysts of pus growing everywhere in my hair, in my face, in my body. I remember before every morning, and I was beginning, and I began. So I was not sleeping, never, 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 never. Whatever I took, with having stomach aches 24 hours a day, like razors in the belly, razors in the intestines, always. Whatever I ate, I didn't want to eat anymore. It was just pure. I won't describe the toilet portion, but it was disgusting. It was a fucking mess. It was catastrophic. And yeah, he gave me that for 3 years. And came a time when I was too sick to work and too ugly to my girlfriend because I was so filled with cysts and acne and all these things, these horrible skin disease. I was getting uh, even my uniform, my security uniform, gave me aches and like sunburns. Like I had sunburns everywhere, plaques of red skin and irritated skin all over my chest and back, and cysts everywhere and acne everywhere. Even if I didn't have acne for the last 7 years, I began to have like being a 14-year-old again. Like I had acne, like it was bad, bad, really bad. Yeah, almost deformed, I would say. It was traumatic. And so she didn't want anything to do with me because I couldn't sleep with her. I couldn't sleep at all. I couldn't see friends. I couldn't do family picnics. I couldn't pay the bills. I couldn't, So she threw me out the door, and we were still good friends. I mean, the worst part of all of this is I even 13 years later, I don't know what happened to me. As you can see, I no longer have the rashes and the cysts of pus and the acne everywhere. But it took its toll, and I can no longer sleep. I have what is called family sporadic insomnia. So it's a deviant of fatal insomnia, meaning that um, after 2 months of exams and medical tryouts of medications, I left with a bill of $13,000 that my mother had to pay, because I went there because I was so deprived of sleep that they said my heart would have exploded. I would have had an heart attack because I was still training all my life. There was never a time I was not training in some kind of way. And in these times, I was training more cardio because I knew that my heart would give out, give up. I knew it. I knew it in my veins. I knew that with little sleep. I mean, you don't sleep anymore. You fall into a desperate body contortion. Your eyes flicker up, but you don't. You remember every instant. So for 6 years, this endured. For 6 years, I didn't sleep 1 second, and I challenge anybody to say bullshit. I know what I did. I know what I went through, and yeah, I almost died 3 times. So if you want to call me a bullshitter or it's not true or nobody can do this, I know the world record for not sleeping is like 11 or 13 days. I don't remember. I did a lot more than that. And that's not again to show off, or it's like, why would I want to be proud, or why would I want to I don't even know if anyone is gonna watch this video. Why would I want to create such an iconic idea of myself? I'm not happy of not of having not slept for 6 years. I'm not happy at all. I don't want to break world records. I don't. I would rather just go to sleep and wake up 8 hours later. That's all I want. I'm not proud of this. So just that we are clear, I'm not doing this from a, forget the word, but I'm not being pretentious about it. And not something I'm proud of. And believe me, if you had been in my situation, you'd you'd say the same thing. It's not about breaking records. It's about staying alive. It's not something to be proud of. It's not something you want to achieve. I mean, if you're crazy enough and want to have 20 Red Bulls a day and break the world record, like, go for it. It's insane. It's inhumane. It's psychologically devastating. And I don't want to go through it ever at all. So, um, yeah, so after 2 months of private for $450 a day hospital, um, that gave me some pills that I had such an allergic reaction, I became even in a worse state. So why would I? Again, I won't say who the name of the doctors. I won't call the name of the hospital. I'm just saying what I did. I end up. I started from running. I don't know. In these times, maybe I was running something like an hour a day, and I ended up in a wheelchair. And I will always remember, just like when my sister got beat up by my father, excuse me, by my dad. I will never forget when I was alone in my wheelchair, looking at my feet, looking at my legs, looking in front of me, and not being even able to make the wheelchair advance. I had no strength in me, no strength left in me whatsoever. None. I was defeated. All my martial arts, all my training, all my discipline, all my schooling were for naught. I was just a larva. I was a worm. I was worthless. So yeah, so for 6 years I didn't sleep. I did I went back to university to try and study in this condition. Of course, didn't last long. I mean, who can go to the university without sleeping ever? Call me. I want to know how you do it. So, and again, guys, I just want to. This video is just not about complaining, it's just about telling you the truth about what happened. So, I'm not proud of any of this. It's, again, it's something I don't wish on anybody. It should not be. It's it's cruel, and yeah. But the idea of Batman always was imprinted in my mind because even at the top of my sickness, my friend, again, Frank Movie Talks, best movie analysis channel in the on YouTube, I think. Frank Movie Talks on one word. Go check it out. Best Batman, best comic book, best movies, analytics, and he's just great. He's a great writer. He's a great, um, again, he's a great YouTuber. He's a great everything. He's a good guy. So look out for his channel. Um, yeah. So after that, I finally found neurologist who took me under his wing, made me pass some sleep tests and everything. And by then, we were able to create a circle of medications that, by trial and error, that finally worked. Well, worked. If you call being sleeping artificially with pills work, well, I guess it worked. But it brings me to, I won't talk about my, well, because of course, every time I got sick, I lost someone I loved. And every time I was healthy, I won someone. So when I was up and healthy again, I lost 40 pounds through hard training. I lost the 40 pounds that my convalescence had put onto me. And I started seeing a beautiful and great woman that we became a couple. And I've never loved. When I love hard. And I loved her very, very much. So, so yeah. I'll just, you have an idea. Now I'm taking, of course, guys, if any of you have any questions about insomnia, about tricks, medications, I'm not a doctor, but I can point to certain professionals that can help. If you're having insomnia, chronic insomnia, fibromyalgia. Again, that's what I was saying in the beginning, that this channel will be more than just Batman things, because I have a lot more to talk about than that. So, yeah, so from I had a great relationship that lasted for some time. And then I became sick again with something very stupid, but cost me my love, and something I loved very dearly, and somebody else was exceptional, and I still think she is exceptional, no matter who she is with, no matter what she's doing, no matter where she is. She is like my first girlfriend too. Exceptional woman. I cannot say enough good, not bad. I cannot say enough good things about them. So if they're ever watching this, well, no, I would just want what's best for them, for you. And yeah, I'll just end on finally finding my way in the martial arts. And it came through a friend who was very had done a lot of ninjutsu, and we found this place called Russian Sistema. And I went, oh yeah, okay, Russian Sistema sounds interesting. What the hell is that? And he described it about me, and he said there's a school in Montreal. So, because at the beginning we wanted to go to a ninjutsu camp to learn ninjutsu, because we were, again, Batman madness. I don't know. But yeah, and he finally didn't go, but I finally got to drive to Montreal every day, every course I could. 2 hours of driving, 4 hours back and forth of driving after. Anyway, so I finally found my teacher, my sensei, my real true sensei, that will be my sensei only until the end of my life. Was called Kevin Secor, and if you look it up, Kevin Secor is a B.Ed from McGill University, and he is a master of many styles, which includes he has created his combat art called Combat Systema, and he is a master of many styles. Of course, he is a master of over 40 years of martial arts background, and law enforcement, bodyguard, um, military training. Very that he is the most skillful human being I've ever encountered in all my life. So I know now. I just got surgery, so I cannot go back now. But I'm looking forward to reconnect with my master, my sensei, my teacher, uh, and his school, and his work. That is just, you can go to his website, kevinsecor.com, and you'll find only greatness and enlightenment. And enlightenment, I say, he's a very proactive, pragmatic teacher. He is a master of Kempo, of Shaolin, of Jiu-Jitsu, of he's done Kelly, he's done Muay Thai, he's done I don't know martial arts he hasn't done, because he has traveled all over the world. He has trained all types of law enforcement. He has written books. He has worked as a real life bouncer for many years and bodyguard, private bodyguard, and he is the greatest. I know. Um, I can tell for sure, even if it's misplaced, maybe, but I see him as my greatest um, teachers figure. I want to say parents figures, father figure, but I mean, I guess mentor would be a better type, a better name, a better word to use. But I mean, you cannot spend an hour with this man and not be absolutely knocked back by the skill and the way he teaches and everything that's great in a great sensei, in a great martial artist. He's got the knowledge, the form, the intelligence, the wisdom that many teachers lack. He's got it, and he's very from past arts like jiu-jitsu to modern arts like Russian sistema. He is the greatest human being I've ever encountered in my life. So if he ever saw the if he ever sees this for whatever reasons, thank you, sir, and I thank you um, greatly for everything you inspire in your students. You're the greatest master, and I'm sure I will be in my grave and I will still say I'm a student of Kevin Secor. And although I have not been the best student, not the most dedicated student, there wasn't a day I wasn't thinking about doing martial arts with you, sir. So that's it, guys. So now I'm on $130 a month sleeping pills, and that's kind of my life. So brief resume. No, it's an hour and a half, but I did as fast as a job as I could. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, if you have any questions, of course, about, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, but I'll be glad to share. And you'll see on this channel more videos of, I guess, eating, being vegan, um, training. I will hope, because I've I've gone back. I've gone back to training again around these parts. So I'll be sharing some thoughts on that and of my. It's just my experience, guys. I'm not a professional. I'm not a teacher. I'm not anything of that. I'm just a student, an internal student of the art, and I have the passion for a passion for the art, and be self defense, biomechanics, uh, weapon use, weapon protection, just martial arts in general. I love all of it. I've tried many, but I know that where my place is now. I have no doubt. I have finished my search, and it's in combat system, and I hope to do it for the next 20 years and 30 years and 40 years until I die. I hope I'll be able to realize my dreams in that part of my life. So, again, guys, thank you for listening. Um, if you have some common traits with what I've lived through, and if some things I haven't been on, I haven't gone through everything because it would be too long with the depression and the meds and the alcoholic and the still an alcoholic, as you can see. Um, I haven't gone through everything, but I will. I just wanted to create a foundation to tell a basic, again, basic, just a basic line to make you understand a little bit about me and where I come from and what my issues are and what my battles are. Because life is a battle always, and training is truth. So train hard, train safe, train smart, and I'll see you again, guys, in the next video. And of course, always more Batman to come. So thanks, guys. Take care.